Spacey's Sims, and we are back with more Sweet Views in Pig Farts route. No, we're just going to Pig Farts. Going to Pig Farts. No, in Hogstein Pig Faces route, whatever. And yeah, so we just ran into him in this hospital, and again, I don't know how she did not even find it suspicious at all. But she did not find it suspicious at all. That he is just somehow in here. Yeah. Yeah. Come here. This way. Don't. We should have said behind you. Oh, we got love points with him for that. Ah, okay. Behind you! Ah, I'm just kidding. All right, we get to restrain ourselves this time. Oh, yeah, wait. I'm going to flip back to our... Huh. Yeah, that did give us a +1 with Wakasa. I'm not sure why we... I don't know what behind you would have done, because it wouldn't have given us a thing with Wakasa, but I don't know. We never chose it, but... Oh, this one we can choose either. Do you have to go to the bathroom? Is there something you want to tell us? So... We'll choose. Do you have to go to the bathroom? Because we never get to do that. We're going to restrain ourselves. Because we don't want love points with Shirabe. Fuck that. It's like old enough to be our dad almost. Like, not really, but... Still too old. Too old for us. I mean, it's like at least a 12-year difference. At least. Well, wait. Yeah, but anyway. I'm just going to ask if she has to go to the bathroom. Mai, do you have to use the little girl's room? She shook her head. Is there something you wanted to tell us?
Yeah.
Oh, huh. Gosh, Mitorashi's practically a better dad than Shirabe. Practically? Girl. That was actually kind of worth it just for that. Like, he's practically a better dad. Oh, sweetie. You underestimate everything. He is a better dad than Shirabe right now. And you just don't even realize that Monopig... Yeah. This is going to be fun, though. Especially... Maybe when we get to... I wonder what's going to happen, how it's going to be different. You know what I mean? That's what I'm really curious about. Like, these are all slightly different because we keep running into him every time, which I wasn't expecting, especially in here. I'm like, well, we're in here where we're going to run into... Okay, that's not suspicious. I mean, she doesn't think it is, but whatever. I don't know. All right. 7 deadly sins. Treasure chest, wires, 7 deadly sins. Sure. I'm just picking random shit. The 7 deadly sins, of course. Shido, I'd do anything for you. Even go down this goddamn route. And deny you love points. Deny myself love points with you. It hurts. It hurts almost as much as douche face pretending to be jazz hands. That hurts a little bit more. You know what I just do realize? That her head is shaped like a bomb. Like, somebody, I'm surprised no one has screamed that so far. Okay, let's just be honest. I am like 2 months fucking ahead. I did not need to record this far to be ahead for Christmas. Obviously, it is not even Thanksgiving. I'm done like with this because I got nothing else to record because the other game that's going up against this doesn't come out until tomorrow, so I can't play it. And I do have to do my sim stuff, but I wanted to do this, and so I'm just like way ahead. Anyway, think about it more. Don't trust Urabe, which is probably good. But anyway, woo! Falling as I'm trying to move my guide up because I was trying to make it bigger. Yeah, so I'm like way ahead. I did not need to record this far, but it's kind of like the... So I think I probably would have been fine stopping before Shido's route, but like how the fuck am I going to do that to myself? And then I could have not done this, but then I'm like, really? I'm going to wait like now over a month to do that? Fuck that, we're finishing it. The blast had lifted me into the air. Whoa, watch out! Just as I was about to tumble to the ground, an arm caught me. The voice. I tried to call his name, but the heat and dust of the blast had dried out my throat so much I could barely speak. How is he gonna be hogsed? Interesting. I'm curious about this now. See, I told you I'd come rescue you. Another explosion roared through the air around us, drowning out his words. I felt his body stiffen. Then a shockwave slammed into my body, and my consciousness winked out. Oh, okay. Okay, stage 4 is going to be slightly different. Interesting. This is slightly different. So how the fuck do we get out of this? I'm curious about this. Can we skip this? Hey, are you all right? My eyes fluttered open. Shido? Yes, thank goodness you're okay. He leaned back and let out a sigh of relief because he's worried about us and I love you, but I can't date you. They're forcing me to go down Monopig's route. I don't want to do it. Somehow I seemed to have escaped the explosion, but the hospital hadn't been so lucky. All that was left was a smoking crater. Okay, so no one helped. He helped us out, but no one saw it. Interesting. Okay, and now he somehow manages to... Okay. I looked around. The others were sitting nearby, looking battered and shaken. Minorashi was grimacing and holding a hand to his stomach. He must have gotten injured again, but he seemed to have been the only one. Urabe's not here, and neither is Makoto. I had a feeling Urabe had chosen not to join up with us, but what about Makoto? Yeah, I gotta go be Monopig. And then you hear, you're like, he's in the bushes over there. Putting a little girl like mine, I'm gonna get mad at him, because go fuck him. Also, what's wrong with you? I'm just screaming. But anyway, yeah, so I'm like way ahead, so. I don't know what the point of that was, but anyway. You're gonna try and force a little kid to play your sick game! So, like, I did not need to record this far ahead, but at the same time, I kind of was like, might as well. Like, so... I wanted to know the story, man. There was a point to why I was talking about that, and I just totally forgot it. Man, I wish I remembered what it was. Anyway, everyone looked exhausted. We shared some short goodbyes, then headed for our rooms. The moment I'd closed the door, I collapsed onto my bed, expecting to be asleep before my head hit the pillow. That didn't happen. I couldn't seem to get my thoughts straight. I took a deep breath and tried to calm myself down. He better not show up dressed like fucking jazz hands. I wonder if Makoto's all right. As the fog began to clear from my mind, he was the first thing I thought of. Ugh! He said he'd come help me if I was ever in trouble, but I didn't think he'd actually come rescue me. But he had. If it wasn't for Makoto, I'd definitely have gotten caught in the hospital explosion. I hope he didn't get hurt. When I'd woken up, he was gone. Felt a little bad for passing out. Oh, that's right! I could call him! I'd completely forgotten that we'd exchanged numbers the day before. I quickly scrolled down to his name and pressed the call button. He's not answering, because he's busy. I tried a few more times, but it just went straight to voicemail. Without any other way to get in touch with him, I was at a dead end. I threw myself back down on the bed. There was always tomorrow. I hope you're safe, Makoto. He wants us to worry. What a douche. All right, time for me to get some sleep. Okay. Oh, yay! Fuck my life. Here we go. It was my phone that woke me, not the alarm. Who could be calling me this early? Gee, I wonder. I don't want to wake Mai up, so I crawled carefully toward the side of the table where I'd set my phone. What? The name on the display blasted away the last bits of sleep from my mind. It was Makoto. Hello? Makoto? Spacey. There was no mistaking his voice, but it sounded small and weak, faking it. Thank goodness you're okay. I've been trying to get a hold of you, but you didn't pick up. I was so worried. It's not looking good. What? I've been hiding so Hogstein can't find me, but I got hurt in an explosion yesterday, and it looks like it's worse than I thought. I think he's full of shit. What? Oh no! I probably won't be going anywhere for a while. That sounds serious. Where are you right now? In the storage room where you got me out of that costume. Damn, somebody's coming. Makoto! He is so faking it. What a shady son of a bitch! I like him a lot less than if he called and been like, yeah, no, I'm fine. Now he's trying to make us feel sorry for. He is so scummy. I don't trust him. He hung up. I stared down at my cell phone. I don't trust him. He'd been caught in the explosion and he'd been hurt. Lies. Liza Minnelli. In fact, he'd been hurt so badly that he couldn't move, and he didn't sound very good. What am I going to do? I wanted to go check on Makoto and see if I could do anything to help, but I still hadn't told anyone about him yet.
What's going on?
I like how her name's backwards. Oh, I'm sorry, Mahai. Did I wake you up?
Are you talking to somebody?
What? No, I don't think so. I was probably just talking in my sleep.
Really?
Why is her name backwards? Has it been backwards in this whole route? Oh, it looks like breakfast is here. Go wash up, okay?
Okay.
I don't like lying to Mahai, but I don't really have a choice.
Really? You call yourself Makoto in your sleep?
We finished our breakfast and got dressed, but I still didn't know what I was going to do. Only that I couldn't get Makoto out of my head. Ugh. But the game's starting soon. The only way I was going to get to see Makoto was if I got out of the game somehow. Would Hockstein let me do that? And even if I did, how would I explain it to the others? I was still the only person who knew about Makoto. I was deep in thought when I heard a knock on the door. It's Shido. Do you have a minute? Yeah, hold on. I'm coming. We should get moving soon. Are you ready? Yeah. Did you come here just to ask me that? That and I need to talk to you about Mitarashi. Oh, what about him? I've been so preoccupied with Makoto that I'd momentarily forgotten Mitarashi had gotten hurt too, protecting Wakasa. He doesn't look like he's totally recovered yet. I think it's going to be best for him to sit this one out. Is it that serious? He keeps insisting he's fine, but anyone with eyes can tell he's just acting tough. It took some convincing to get him to stay behind. Anyway, it's just going to be the 5 of us today. I'm sure that'll make today's game harder, so I just wanted to give you a heads up. Okay, thanks. Is something wrong? No, nothing. I'm fine. If you say so. I'll see you in the lobby in 10 minutes. Don't be late. Shido's disappointed in us. You can tell by the way he talks to us. He's like disappointed in you because you're lying to us and you're falling in love with that fucking pig and not me. I know! Wrong pig. I'm just kidding because he's a cop, right? Get it? I'm kidding. That was harsh. We shouldn't say that to Shido. We love Shido. So, Mitarashi isn't going to be in the game either? Getting out of the day's game to check up on Makoto was getting harder and harder. Yeah, girl. Think about your friends and not that fucking asshole. Bros before hoes. And he is definitely a hoe. He's some kind of hoe. He's horrible. Horrible. It's the best way I can make that work. As soon as we stepped off the hotel, we headed for the plaza. The path took us past the hospital, or perhaps more accurately, the remains of the hospital. I'd been too shaken the day before to really look at it, but the dust had cleared and I was able to see what the explosion had done. The entire building was gone, reduced to twisted rubble piled around a massive crater. Damn. There's nothing left. It's hard to believe there was a building here yesterday. After that explosion, I'm not really surprised. I looked at the ruins of the hospital and shivered. But even though the explosion had been powerful enough to level the entire building, no one had died. That had to be some kind of miracle. We hadn't gotten through entirely unscathed, though. Mitarashi had gotten hurt, and so had Makoto. Mitarashi was recuperating back on the hotel with Mai, but Makoto was hiding, alone, and in pain. Oh, I'm just making you feel sorry for me. And it was pain I'd caused him. Good! Maybe he'll die in that shed, and then we won't have to do this bullshit anymore. He's faking it. I have to go. I couldn't just leave him alone to suffer, especially if he was suffering because of me. Excuse me. Everyone turned to look at me. Would it be okay if I, leave? What? Hold on a second. What are you talking about? I'm sorry. I know this is selfish, but there's something I really have to go do. Whoa, wait. If you ditch us, then we have to beat today's game with only 4 people. Yeah, what a selfish bitch. Why do you want to leave? You should tell them. Mitarashi wasn't the only person hurt in the explosion yesterday. I want to go make sure that other person is okay. Are you saying there's someone else in here besides us? I nodded. And please enlighten us as to why the hell you apparently didn't feel it necessary to communicate this fairly vital information. I know, right? It's almost like they're all disappointed in me. Along with me, I'm also disappointed in myself. You're not the only ones. And it's almost noon. Oh, we need to get to today's game. Ugh. Fine. Leave. If this person really is injured, we can't just ignore them. Shido, you're so much better of a human being than anyone else here, and we don't deserve you. We're gonna go date Mono Pig, because I don't deserve you. I'm an asshole. You're too precious. Thank you so much! But once you're finished, you will be telling us everything. Is that clear? Whatever you say, sweet cheeks. As Crystal, as soon as I'm done, I'll come join up with you guys. No, we won't. Before Shido could change his mind, I turned and took off toward Makoto. He's not going to be there somehow. Makoto! There was no response from inside the storage room. Is anyone here? Had Hochstein found him? Perhaps he was just asleep. Or perhaps his injury had gotten worse and he... Hundreds of possibilities, each worse than the last, tumbled through my mind. Notice he's not here because he's helping everybody else with the game? And then he's going to magically appear and be like, oh, I ran out and hid. Yeah. Makoto? I began to search every inch of the room. Behind the shelves, in boxes, even in the suit he'd worn on the first day. After several nerve-wracking minutes, I finally spotted him lying on the floor in the corner. He snuck in after us. I don't believe for a second. He was on his back, mostly hidden in shadow. His right arm was over his stomach, and his face was twisted in a grimace of pain. I think he's faking it. Makoto! He moved and groaned at the sound of his name, and his eyes fluttered open. Muscles I hadn't known were tense suddenly relaxed. Are you okay? Spacey? What are you doing here? Oh, right, I called you. Sorry about that. I was just feeling kind of vulnerable. He's so fucking shady. He's so fucking shady. He sat up and hissed in pain. I didn't really expect you to come see me, though. What about the game? Shouldn't you be out there? Well, because remember, there was a point where there were two Hogsteins. Like, you're Hogstein too, right? And they were talking about that? Because that's probably Urabe. So now he's got Urabe being Hogstein. Or he had someone else. So he could easily be in two places. Like, Hogstein could be telling them while he's here. But he's the mastermind behind this. We're not fucking stupid. But I'm just saying, I don't trust him. I don't trust he's really in pain. I shouldn't I? They'll be fine. I told them I had to go check on someone. I'm sure they can handle whatever the game is until I get back. Yeah, I guess you guys are getting along pretty well, huh? And if they all die, it's my fault and he wins. Oh my god. Oh, we've fucked up that game before, So how are you? Are you hurt really bad? Oh, right. I gave myself a little first aid and stopped the bleeding. It still, hurts pretty bad, though. He grimaced a little as he said it and absently pressed his hand to his stomach. You were bleeding? That sounds pretty serious. It sounds worse than it was. It's just a scratch. I stopped the bleeding right away. He's so full of fucking shit! It's not just how I read him when he says it's like, I'm so dying. I know I read it like he's full of shit, but it's also because he's full of shit, so. Not exactly making the best impression, am I? First I make you listen to me whine. Now you're watching me moan and groan over nothing. Literally moan and groan over nothing, you shady son of a fucking bitch! I love how much I hate him. My plan for saving you was way cool, but I guess I kind of screwed that up, huh? Ow. You need to rest and let yourself heal. Is there anything I can do? Shouldn't you be getting back to the game? I know I kind of made you come all the way out here, but I'm fine now. Once I saw your face, I felt way better. He grinned, but I shook my head. I'm gonna stay here a little longer. I still feel bad. You only got hurt because of me. And nah, that was my decision. I jumped into that explosion all on my own. It wasn't your fault, but he shouldn't have fucking been there. He went to go leave, and then somehow he was magically there. But if you're really not gonna leave, and you really do want to help, then I might have a favor to ask. Oh, this is when he asks for a blowjob. Okay, and we kick him in the nuts and leave and go help our friends. Girl, don't fall for this shit. What is it? Oh, let me explain. Oh god, oh god. And now his head is in our lap. Like, in his CGs, he's kind of adorable. Like, he's not bad. You're like, he's kind of cute. But then, like, the sprites are not, and he's shady as fuck, so. Are you really sure this is what you want? Oh, here's the romancy music. Gag. Yeah, it's perfect. Really? Well, I guess as long as you're happy. My voice wavered. I didn't think he'd ask if he could put his head on my lap. Oh, okay. Lying down like that was hurting the back of my head. But if I move onto my side or my stomach, then my wound started to hurt. It kind of sucked. I hate him. Well, I'm glad I could help. I was working hard to look anywhere but into Makoto's eyes, but his position was making that difficult. A man laying his head on my lap certainly hadn't been in the list of things I'd expected to happen that day. And also because he can look up your nose and you're like, what if I got boogers? Like, what if my nose hair's growing long or something? Like, honestly, I kind of envy you guys a little bit. What? Why? How do I put it? Like, you all have to work together and bust your butts to triumph over adversity, right? It just seems like you'd have a lot of, what's the word? Camaraderie. Helping each other out, building trust. I don't know, it seems like that could be kind of fun. Fun. I was surprised to think he'd see it that way. I was sure none of us had thought it was fun at all. Although, since you're actually out there in the thick of it, you probably think I'm nuts. I guess it just looks different from out here. I got stuck in here with the rest of you, but I'm still just an outsider. I haven't been much help. I'm sorry. Hey, don't say that. I think of you as one of us. Really? Man, I hope you really mean that. Thanks, Spacey. Every time he opens his mouth, I just want to punch him. He smiled wide and slow, and then his eyes began to droop closed. Makoto, are you all right? Yeah, fine. Just a little sleepy. His eyes closed. And just thinking of that, like, I was just imagining him yawning in my head, and it made me yawn. Fuck. His eyes closed, but moments later I heard a quiet snore and let out a sigh of relief. Should I call the others? I'm worried about what's going on with the game. It was already past noon, though, which meant they'd probably entered the attraction. There was no way for me to get a hold of them. I should have realized that was what would happen. I sighed. Interesting. I don't believe for a fucking second that he's not Hogstein. I'm sorry. He's definitely M2, and this is somebody else pretending to, because we knew there were two Hogsteins. You knew there were. But whose route was it in? Was it in Mayoshi's route? Or was it in Towa's route where we were in the thing and he was like, you were also Hogstein, and Hogstein was saying that to somebody in a piglet's costume, so yeah. We already know there's two, and this doesn't convince me otherwise. This is just one more nail in the he's still fucking Hogstein costume. This is just him trying to cover his ass, and I don't believe it for a second anyway.
Oink, oink! There you are, you little rat!
The door slammed open with such suddenness and force that I nearly jumped out of my skin. I held my breath as I listened to the heavy, thumping footsteps come closer.
Oink! I've been looking all over the park for you, you little sneak!
Hogstein rounded the corner and came into view, a gun in his hand. What is he doing here? Shouldn't he be supervising the game? He began to walk toward us, his massive body shaking with each step. I held out my arms in what was probably a vain attempt to protect Makoto.
Oh! I didn't expect to see you here. No wonder you aren't off playing the game.
How are they doing? Are they okay?
They're in the middle of my game right now. A piglet is keeping watch while I take care of some important business. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a rat to exterminate.
Desperately, I tried to convince Hogstein that since Makoto had been in the park since the beginning, he wasn't breaking any rules. It seemed to work, and he admitted I might have a point.
All right, then. How about I give you a choice?
What choice?
You can leave the park with him immediately, or you can remain. I'll let you pick whichever option you want.
Leave? You mean you'd let me go outside? Yeah, because Makoto doesn't want us to stay. He wants us out, so he would have told... I'm just taking the leap to say it's Urabe in the costume right now, but... He continued on, explaining that because I'd volunteered and Makoto was here by chance, neither of us was part of his larger plan. Therefore, letting us go was better than keeping us around, where we might mess up his game. Sounds like bullshit.
Forgot to mention, if you choose to stay, then I'll kill him. Right here, right now.
I'm gonna stay! What?
Come on, think. He stuck his stupid nose into my game, and he saved you from an explosion. He's a meddler, and he's getting what meddlers deserve. So what will you do? What will you choose?
This is horrible. Leave. Oh, stay. No, we wanted to stay. If we leave, he doesn't die. Stay. And he died. What happens if we choose stay? What happens if we choose stay? Do we get a game over? I bet we get a game over. Fine. I can't choose. Really? No, I want to stay so that you'll kill him, and then I can go back to my friends and just fall in love with Shido. So that's my happy ending right there. So much for my happy ending. Just like Avril Lavigne said. Jesus. You're asking me to abandon my friends or leave Makoto to die, and I won't do it. I'll save Makoto and stay here to play your ridiculous games. That's my answer. I knew I was being reckless, but if there was another way, I would have taken it. Yeah, stay, let him die, go back with your friends, and everything will be great because he's not actually going to kill him because he is him. I'm just saying. I knew it. Huh? Yep. I looked down at Makoto. He was smiling, and this is where we find out that he's Hogstein. I'm just guessing. I knew you'd say that. You really are interesting, Spacey. He sat up. Ow. Bullshit. Are you okay? Yeah, it's not as bad as I thought. Still, talk about being hoisted by your own petard? I don't know what that means. I don't know what that is. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Anyway, what did that mean? What had hoisted him? I was still trying to figure out what he meant when Hogstein lowered his gun. That's the best response! His tone was so congratulatory, I almost expected it to be followed by some sort of cheesy ta-da sound effect. I was just waiting for the cheesy sound effect after she said that. I was like, wait, is it going to come?
Wow! What a thrill that was! As a token of appreciation, I'd like to invite you to be my guest.
I'm not putting your service to the test. I'm out. What? Your guest where?
Why, at my castle, of course. The glorious Castle Hogstein.
He gave me a clumsy salute and waddled closer. Before I could say anything, he pulled out an oddly shaped bottle and sprayed something into my face. What is this smell? It was almost sickeningly sweet, and suddenly my brain felt clumsy and slow. And notice he only did it to us. I can't keep my eyes open. I'm just saying. I might actually be the end of a fourth. It is. It's the end of the fourth one. So that went quick. But this is where we find out that yeah, we already know he's Hogstein, and there's a second person in the costume just pretending, and he magically, he only gassed up. Yeah, okay. I blinked my eyes slowly and sat up to find myself in a strange room. What happened? I racked my still clouded mind to try and remember, and it wasn't long before I did. Hogstein had shown up when I was checking on Makoto. He'd asked me a weird question, and when I gave him my answer, he sprayed me with something. What was in that bottle? Well, one spray was enough to knock me on my butt. My head still feels funny. It also seemed to have given me a pounding headache. This whole route gives me a headache. Hogstein! I jumped when I noticed him standing in front of a desk on one side of the room.
What do you think? This is the top floor of my castle. Usually only super duper VIPs get to come up here.
The top floor? I looked around the room. One wall was covered in television screens showing what appeared to be camera feeds. Around the screens were dozens of notes. Wait, where's Makoto? In the suit. The only other person in the room was Hogstein. He'd threatened Makoto earlier, and after he'd knocked me out, he could have... Oh no! Hey, where's Makoto?
We got another special guest here with us today.
He ignored my question and pressed one of the buttons on his console. The screens changed to show a single image. It was a dark room, lit only by dim lights. The walls were lined with aquariums full of tropical fish, and... What? Oh, he's in the fish tank? Oh! Now Urabe's back in the fish tank. Interesting. Interesting. So technically... this is... Oh! Okay, so like when we went down Shido's route and we went in, we got to do this one and Urabe was in there. So Urabe was probably in the Hogstein costume, I'm guessing. Actually, no, maybe not. Somebody else was. Because, okay, I would have thought Urabe would have been posing as Hogstein. Because you know there was in one route where Hogstein was like, you're also Hogstein, so there was at least 2 people in the costume. But... So we know, but we don't know that it was Urabe because he was with us most of the time, except for after stage 3 where he disappeared, right? But he seems to have changed his mind and he turned himself in, and not even in the route where we fall in love with him, just in the other ones. We don't really know, except for in Shido and Shirabe's route, we kind of find him and whatever. I don't remember if we found him in Murarashi's route, but in some of the early routes, we don't know if he just decided to turn himself in because he felt guilty or like because he got caught. Like, we don't really know. You know, we know in his route and in Shido and Shirabe's route, we kind of were like, no, we're friends and we love you and we trust you. And he was like, huh. And he kind of felt bad about what he was doing and he kind of switched sides, right? But did he switch sides when he helped us in chapter 3? In stage 3? Or was he just kind of like on the fence, but like maybe he was still not... I mean, you don't know. I got the feeling in all the other routes that he kind of switched sides around them, but was just hiding and, like, staying away from us because he thought we'd hate him or whatever. But, like, I don't know. So we don't really know if he was in the Hogstein costume or not. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But if it was him, say, when he kidnapped us, then they switch. Makoto pulls a fast one on him, gets him in this tank. Or there's just some random piglet that's pretending to be Hogstein being brainwashed by Makoto, which would actually make more sense than Urabe because, you know, then they would do whatever. Because if Makoto left it up to Urabe, who helped them out in the 3rd state, he would be kind of stupid because Urabe could have been like, ha ha ha, shoots Makoto and been like, no, but see, here's the deal, and then spill the beans and everything would have been over. Like, he could have saved the day. So I'm guessing it's more likely it's not Urabe that was ever posing as Hogstein 2.0 because he was always with us, so it's probably a brainwashed piglet. But still, I know Makoto was fucking Hogstein. I'm just saying. But at least we kind of should have expected him to be in there because we know that it's day 5 now. Because we're... Okay, well, it's not day 5 yet. We felt... Oh, no, it is. It is stage 5. We're in stage 5. We hit the end thing and... Okay. So we're in day 5, so we know this is the one that they're going to. So it makes sense. Okay, timelines are lining up. All right. Anyway. Tied up inside of a huge aquarium was Urabe. Urabe! And that explains also now why Makoto was still in the building with the bomb. Spacey? He slowly lifted his head. It looked like we could hear each other. Oh, what are you doing there? Hogstein brought me here, but what about you? Are you okay? I'm fine. I'm happy that you are safe. So that explains why Makoto was in the building enough to push us out, because he was there to get Urabe. So Urabe didn't run away. Urabe got kidnapped by fucking Hogstein while it was being blown up. He was working hard to smile, but he looked exhausted.
After the explosion, Kimimoto Urabe demanded that I end the game and release the hostages. Not only did he betray me, but he had the nerve to try and tell me what to do. I had to imprison him on the spot, of course.
Urabe had been fighting for us, even when we didn't know it. I like the fact that it's kind of like, well, you never see Makoto and Hogstein together ever, except for that one time, but we know that there's 2 Hogsteins from one of the earlier routes. But it's funny, because they mention that in one of the earlier routes, there's 2 of us. And then they never say it again, so that by the time you get to here, they probably think you forget it. And then you're like, well, oh my god, I bet Makoto's Hogstein. And then you're like, well, no, he can't be, because they're in the same spot, and you're really confused, but I'm not confused. I know the shady son of a bitch. We've known this since... Whose route were we in? It's either Murarashi or Shirabe. I'm not sure. But there was a point... No, it was probably Urabe's route. He came after Murarashi, right? But there was a point where it was like, click, oh! And then I remembered that our love interest's name in this route started with an M, and I was like, yep, that was enough. That was enough for me. I knew it. I saw this coming a half a mile away. Not a mile away, because that would have been the beginning of the game. I saw it halfway through. Anyway, Urabe had been fighting for us even when we didn't know it. Let us end this now, M2. And if she doesn't fucking put the clues together right now. All this game can accomplish is to take their lives. And whatever their connection to it, and this will solve nothing. Connection to what? And I feel like I've heard M2 somewhere before. No, it's just, Makoto Makami. You just...
The point isn't to solve anything. The point is punishment.
You're gonna punish Toa for surviving the bus crash? That's shady. Okay, again, I can understand being pissed at Mayoshi because he didn't tell the truth, and therefore, I'm only guessing that his father was the bus driver. That could be the only logical conclusion, because otherwise it wouldn't make sense. Because unless it's supposed to be his family, those dreams that we're having, or his family died in a crash. Because they never I assume they were us. Why would we be dreaming about his family? That makes no sense. But anyway. So my only conclusion is, okay, someone in his family died in the crash, and he blames people for not telling the truth. But here's the thing. If it was just your family on the bus, like Mitsurashi's parents died in the bus crash, even if you were pissed at the bus driver for it, you wouldn't be pissed at everyone that survived. So I could kind of understand if Makoto's dad was say the bus driver, right? Because they kind of blamed it on him, oh, he had a condition, blah, blah, blah. And like I said before, in somebody's path, that could have fucked up a lot of benefits, their lives, whatever, from blaming the father for causing this accident when it wasn't him. And so I can understand you being pissed at Mayoshi and upset because he knew the truth, but he never said anything, and then it was too late. Which is bullshit, though, because even if he told the truth and it was oh, we already closed the case, you the fuck open it! It's not that fucking, it's not oh, well, once we've closed the case, it's done. No! This is not a murder fucking, where you're I got off with murder, and they're now you admitted you killed someone, and we can't charge you again, double indemnity, we can't do that. You know what I'm saying? This is not how that fucking works. Oh, we came to a conclusion, we solved the case, we closed it, this is what happened, and then someone comes forward and says it was wrong. Oh my god, let's reopen it, go back through and be oh my god, we were wrong. Okay, this is what happened. You can fucking do that, you don't just... But obviously, it's not really because that's the way it works, it's because the higher-ups were paid off, probably by Urabe's father, to not fucking reopen the case and shit. So, whatever. So again, I can understand you being upset about Mayoshi, but again, he was a fucking child. Why are you pissed at Mitsurushi? Because his dad was technically the cause of the accident? Okay? Why are you mad at Shido? Because his father was on the case and had no control over his upper brass, telling him, nope, we're done, we're closing the case. He wanted to solve it. He couldn't. Why are you mad at Toa? Because he survived as a child? And Mitsurashi's mom saved him? The only person at fault here is Urabe's fucking father. And I can understand you going through all this because you're getting back at him, but you're taking it out on everybody else. And again, my uncle's theme park, you're destroying his life and his livelihood because you're pissed at a guy who runs a construction company who's already been paid and doesn't give a flying fuck what happens to this theme park. Some psycho comes in and blows it up. Doesn't make him look bad. He's I did a great job building it. This fucker just came in and blew it up. I mean, bombs are going to blow up shit. Hello? I can't make bomb-proof fucking theme parks. For fuck's sake, no one expects that. No one expects the Spanish Inquisition. No one expects Hogstein's bombs. I'm just saying, So, his whole rationale behind this is seriously psychotic. I can understand you being irrationally angry at things, but you don't go and do this. You get therapy, and you realize that that's, that this is not the way to go about getting revenge on Urabe's father, who I understand you want revenge on. Fine with that. But the rest of it makes no fucking sense, and you're a fucking psychopath, and I'm supposed to fall in love with you and be it's totally understandable. No! Even in Urabe's path, when he was explaining it, I'm so you thought you'd just kill a bunch of innocent people to get back at your dad? What fucking sense does that make? None! I'll give you none! It makes none! You don't even have to think about it. None. No sense. I'm so fucking angry. Oh my god. Alright, anyway. What? I had no idea what they were talking about.
Why don't I tell you a story?
Why don't you not? Hogstein looked over at me and began to speak. 12 years ago, there had been a horrific traffic accident. One of the Kaneto City buses had gone over the center divider and crashed into a car. Both vehicles had caught on fire and nearly everyone in the crash had been killed. It had happened at night, but there had been nothing to obstruct the vision of the drivers, so the police had initially examined it as a possible criminal case. After only a week, however, they decided that it had clearly been an accident and the police investigation was closed. Yeah, a week? Well, the accident had been big news for several days.
So there you have it. That's the case that Ayumu Shurabe has been after for the last several years.
Case? Wait, I thought the police had decided it was an accident. Shurabe had said he'd come to the park chasing a mystery. So that's it, huh? Now that I thought about it, Shurabe had mentioned someone named M2. Did he? When? I don't know. Oh, well, he said maybe when we asked him and he said somebody named M2 sent him here. Maybe that's why when Urabe said it, I was like, I heard that somewhere. And I'm like, where? I forgot. So, see, I forgot something. And Urabe had just called Hogstein that. Does that mean... I glanced over at Hogstein. There was a lot more going on than I could see. I didn't know what yet, but it was there. Sorry, my thing just decided it needs an update. Go fuck yourself, not getting one.
And you, Mr. Urabe, you're linked to it too, aren't you?
Urabe twitched as if he'd been hit. After several long silent moments, he lifted his head and spoke. My father was the cause of the accident. His voice was flat, drained, and resigned. It didn't take long for me to understand why. He won't be drained for long. He's in a fish tank full of water and he's going to drown. What? That was terrible, but kind of funny. My father is the CEO of a construction company, and the incident with the bus was his handiwork, his way of silencing a reporter who'd uncovered his misconduct. I was still a child when it happened. One night I overheard him giving the order, and a few days later, he murdered a bus full of innocents to remove a single man. Small wonder then that I began to loathe my father, and myself for having been raised with money I now knew was stained with blood. Sometime after that I met M2. We talked only online, but I soon found that he was the only person around me whom I felt entirely at ease. M2 saved me. I began to study fortune-telling at his casual suggestion, but soon found myself entirely absorbed by it. So when M2 asked for my assistance in destroying a theme park, I did not hesitate. Oh, you know what, buddy? I'm sorry, you dropped your bells a while ago and I forgot to get them for you. My father had been contracted to construct the park, so I saw it as only an extension of his corruption. Disgust for my father and devotion to M2 made my acquiescence a foregone conclusion. Indeed, I was excited by the prospect of destroying my father's work. And that park...
But of course! None other than the Gamatorium!
His voice sounded cruel and mocking.
This game is meant to punish him!
My father is imprisoned with the rest of the hostages, yes? Why not simply punish him directly? Please, stop putting innocents in danger. Urabe, I'm begging you, M2, please. Are we not comrades, you and I? I like Urabe so much better in this route than in his own. I'm just saying. Can I hop routes? Because I'd rather go back to Urabe because, like, right now he seems like, seriously, you're actually being a little crazy. He seems totally rational in this one, as opposed to in his route where he's fucking insane. I don't know. When he spoke, Hogstein's voice was cold.
You and me? Comrades? No.
What? He sounds like a completely different person.
I'm all alone. I have been for a long time now. I don't have comrades.
I know I'm supposed to be talking in like a normal voice with him, but I'm not. When he's in Hogstein, he's Hogstein.
Only one thing in my life matters, and that's sending the man who destroyed it to hell.
Wait, and don't tell me you mean to... Before he could finish, the screens blinked off. I looked over to see Hogstein with his hand on a button.
And that's all he has to say, I think. So, do you understand now why I started this game?
Because you're fucking insane? He turned to look at me and I felt something strange from him. Why did you tell me all this? We just looked at one another for several long moments until Hogstein reached up and adjusted the skull on his chest.
Because you're special, Spacey.
I could see that the person standing in front of me was Hogstein. So why did he sound like, oh, like she's just gonna fun, like, now you figured it out? Makoto? Oh my god, guys! No way! I didn't see that coming a half a mile away. Again, half a mile. He gave a small nod, then began to unzip the Hogstein suit. I told you we were going to find out soon. Yeah, you should look ashamed of yourself. Makoto Makami, take my initials, MM, and you get M2. Not very imaginative, I admit. I mean, I can't believe nobody else figured it out. But nobody knew who you were, so. He climbed out of the suit and gave me a smile and a shrug. Yeah, okay, that fixes everything. Okay. Makoto is Hogstein? No, that was impossible. Hogstein had shown up when I was in the storage room with Makoto. Still, I wasn't sure what I'd just seen was very real. So you've been lying to me? And he's like, yep, and you're like, okay, let's fall in love. This is where you realize that starting to trust him or like him was bad, Spacey, not keep falling for him. There were 100 different questions swirling around in my head, but that one had crawled its way to the top. If Makoto had always been Hogstein, then everything he told me was a lie. You know what would have been better? You meet him, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You finna get, and then you go off with him, like, he's the first route. And then you're like, it's just some random guy in the park, and you would have believed it, right? Like, oh, we found the guy tied up, and then we somehow get him out in the end, and it's the fluffy route, and then you find nothing about the mystery. And then the other ones go further on, and then in the actual last path, you find out that Makoto was Hogstein the whole time, and then you're like, but you were our first love, you son of a bitch! You know what I'm just saying? Like, in his route, maybe you're like, you see him more, then you get him involved in, like, whatever, and he gets out, and because Hogstein gets away, so you wouldn't know you were dating him. That would have been so much better, because you wouldn't have seen it coming. If he, you know what I mean? Like, oh, we find him, we set him out, he kind of helps us, and then we still have the secret relationship with him on the side, and like, okay, yeah, there's somebody else here helping us and trying to get the hostages out, and blah, 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 and we have an inside man. Or, like, whatever. Maybe he gets kidnapped by Hogstein at one point. But then you get him out, like, whatever. So you could have then somehow been with him. Like, you know, with Toa, you were, like, became the traitor type of a thing. Or with Mayoshi, you were running around the park just together in the secret. That's what could have happened. You could have had something like that where it's just the two of you running around separate from everybody else. The zombie thing is happening. Something similar. I'm just saying. And you get out, you never know that Makoto is Hogstein. Maybe you're suspicious, but you don't know until the very last route where then you're trapped and you're like, you're Hogstein. What? And then it would have been better. Because, like, you saw this one coming too far. You're like, oh, wait. Oh, son of a bitch, we're going to date this fucker, aren't we? And you hate him. And at least if he was pretending to be someone else, blah, 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 you would have been like, oh, he's kind of nice, whatever. You would have been like, Toa, okay, you're just a fluffy side character. Like, what the fuck are you even here for? Not pointless, whatever. You know? And you would have had a great route and everything would have been fine. And then when you got to this point, you would have been like, fuck you, son of a bitch, I hate you. And it would have been okay. But now you're like, you hate him and yet you got to date this motherfucker. Really? Really? I'm going to question every fucking choice she makes at this point. I'm just saying, would have been smarter. You're welcome to anyone writing visual novel games or Otome games. You are welcome. Please credit me with that idea when you do it. Just saying. Anyway, if Makoto had always been Hogstein, then everything he told me was a lie. Well, he could have told me the truth about some things, but the reason he told me were much different than what I thought. He smiled helplessly. Sorry, I thought you were really interesting, so I decided to keep an eye on you. I mean, you are the only fucking female here, and that just shows what a creeper you are. Well, you're a jerk! The only thing she's probably going to say in this that makes me like her a lot right now. I've liked her in the other routes, and I questioned her in Urabe's route, but I'm seriously going to question her in this one. Like, all bets are off. She's fucking insane. She drank the Kool-Aid. I guess I can't disagree with that. Now, originally, I was going to be the 7th player, but once you volunteered, I was out of a spot. I decided to let you participate since it wouldn't interfere with my game, and that was really all I cared about. It turned out that you were good at moving things along, so your participation was working out pretty well for me. So is the other guy, maybe that was in the thing, remember when we talked to that dude? which I don't remember in the first pass, but the second time after we met Makoto, all of a sudden, it was either the second or the third route, where all of a sudden now we had that part where we're talking to that dude, and I'm like, who's the fuck is this dude, and why are we talking to him? Maybe, is he the other guy playing? It's his brother. It's your brother, and he is the other Hogstein. I get it. I don't know, but I'm just saying, is he the other Hogstein? Because all of a sudden, because that's still, every time we do that, I'm like, who is this guy and why? Like, before it was just some random dude. It was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. I don't remember him having a Sprite, and now he has a Sprite. And like, who the fuck is he? Other Hogstein. All right, I'm just saying. I'm just saying at this point. I wouldn't be surprised. It turned out that you were good at moving things along, so your participation was working out pretty well for me. But the longer I watched you, the more interested I got. So I arranged to meet you in person that first night. This is creepier than Toma. Toma was like, I'm going to protect you. I'm going to put you in a cage. And he's like, you got interesting, so I decided to like meet you and kidnap you, and you're going to fall in love with me, right? I'm going to keep you imprisoned here. And we're just supposed to be like, okay, like, fuck that. Stab him, Spacey, stab him. His voice was detached and unapologetic, and I felt anger start to boil in my chest. Yeah. He thought I was interesting? That's it? Did he lie about being hurt too? I was worried sick about him. This is why you don't trust boys. I trusted him. I can't believe he lied to me like that. Like, I am not gonna fucking get mad at him. I don't even give a shit if this was the wrong answer. What's wrong with you? Worth it. I'm sorry. His eyebrows went up and he stumbled back a step in surprise. That was probably the best sprite of him, actually, in the whole fucking thing, is him being, like, scared of us. Good. I just wanted to satisfy my curiosity at first, but now I honestly regret tricking you. So, do you think you can hear me out? No! I've got another Hogstein supervising the game, so we got plenty of time. Another one? He looked at me and his mouth bent into a crooked smile, like he's trying to be charming. The fuck? Did you know anything about the accident I was talking about earlier? I shook my head. I'd still been a kid back then. If I'd heard anything, I didn't remember it. Yeah, I thought so. By now, probably the only people who do remember it are the people who were involved in it somehow. The papers bring it up again every so often, but most people have forgotten. That's society for you, I guess. Oh, I'm supposed to feel sorry for you? Go fuck yourself. Were you involved in it somehow? I am very curious, though, about his story. Without speaking, Makoto rolled up his left sleeve and stuck his arm out toward me. I usually don't show this to girls. Most of them get kind of freaked out. Because at first when the CG came out, I'm like, does he have scars? Is that what I'm supposed to see here? A huge, painful-looking scar ran from near his wrist all the way up to his shoulder. And this was my reward for being the only survivor. That's not true. Toa was the only survivor. What? Interesting. Wait. As he rolled his sleeve back down, Makoto gave me a melancholy smile. The rest of my family died in the crash. My dad had taken a day off work from the first time in a long time, so we could all go to a theme park together. Okay, so all of our dreams, didn't I say this before? Unless, like, all those little dreams we were having was, like, his, but why would that doesn't make sense. So all of those little things, they weren't us having dreams. I thought, because they were going to sleep and they were dreams, they were just his memories. It probably might have made sense if you were listening. You would have heard two kids and you probably would have heard boy voices or, like, a girl and a boy or something and you would have known. But, like, so those were supposed to be, like, his little pieces of memory. Okay. So I didn't see that part coming because it doesn't make sense to me. Like, every time we go to sleep, there's that thing, but it seems like it's more like our memory or our dream or something. And, like, but it was really just supposed to be his motivation. Which, I mean, okay. All right, fine. Yes, it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense the way they put it in there. I mean, I guess actually kind of does, because it makes you think exactly that. It's Spacey's thoughts. It's her memories or something. But why doesn't she remember that her whole family... You know what I mean? Like, so that seemed a little odd and weird, but I was like, well... And then Okay. So it was supposed to be his flashbacks. Okay. All right. Fine. Anyway, my dad had taken the day off from work for the first time in a long time, so we could all go to a theme park together. It was me, my dad, my mom, and my little sister. My sister and I were really happy because we hadn't all done anything as a family in a while. If it wasn't for the crash, it would have just been another great family memory. We were on our way home when the bus crossed the median. Mom tried to protect my sister, and Dad tried to swerve out of the way, but he wasn't fast enough. The bus hit us, and the car caught on fire. I mean, that's like sad, but again, you're gonna murder everyone? Wow, you're psycho. I screamed at them, called their names, and tried to wake them up, but it didn't do any good. They were already gone. And after that, he must have been alone, just like he'd said. Is that why you're trying to get revenge? Revenge? Oh, okay, this is... And here's where you go psycho. This isn't revenge. It's punishment. It's justice. As soon as I'd mentioned revenge, his face had contorted with rage. Fuck you. I don't like him, and I don't like that we're supposed to fall in love with him. And they called it an accident, but it was murder. Innocent people died because of that bastard's greed. He's a monster. Okay, I don't blame you being pissed at Urabe's dad, but you're taking it on everybody else, and that's fucked up. My family is dead, and the man who killed them is alive and free. When my family died, I made up my mind. I'd find out the truth no matter what it took. It didn't take long. And now he looks crazy. I can't believe we have to romance this motherfucker. And the crash was ruled an accident after a politician pressured the police to leave it alone. And it was behind that politician, a man named Urabe. And that was when I approached Kimimaro. I let him think it was a mere coincidence, but of course it wasn't. I needed him so I could learn about his father. He turned out to be a gold mine. He told me his father had just landed a contract for a massive theme park. Through bid rigging, threats, and bribes, of course. And not only that, but he'd leveraged his entire company to win the bid. It could make him rich beyond belief, but if something went bad... So I began to plan. I'd destroy the park and ruin what would have been the best moment of that monster's life, and my uncle's. I was speechless. The park my uncle had created as a place for dreams to flourish was instead the focus of an old, vicious grudge. Makoto wanted nothing more than to blow it up. As much as he'd said that he didn't need any friends, behind the rage and despair in his voice, I could hear a deep, aching loneliness. Do you know why I told you all this? Because you're fucking crazy? I shook my head. I'll be blunt then. I want you to forget about going back into the game and just leave. You were never supposed to be part of this anyway. Having you around is interesting, but my goal is more important. You understand, right? If you can sympathize with me even a little bit, please agree to leave. I can't do that. Even if that wasn't the right answer, I might have chosen it anyway. It would have been so fucking hard to force me to be like, okay. You can't. Well, why not? I understand where you're coming from, but this is wrong. Besides, I couldn't just leave my friends behind. Makoto smiled. I thought you might say that, but now that you actually have, I'm at a bit of a loss. I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want this. Guys, I feel like I'm in a cage with Toa again. With Toma. I feel like Toma's got me in a cage, and I'm like, sure, I enjoy being in the cage. And I'm like, I don't know. This is crushing my soul. This is killing me. I don't like this at all. I don't want to do this. I want to know the story, and I'm curious, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm curious enough to finish that. I don't want to do this. Please, Makoto, just stop this whole thing. Couldn't you release the hostages at least? I'm afraid I can't. I can't stop until I've punished him, and we're definitely going to be a prison wife. You think he's not going to go to jail? Makoto! Unfortunately, I don't think we're ever going to reach any common ground on this. Yeah, I'm going to have to kill him. He let out a long sigh, then turned and began to walk away from me. Maybe the bad ending is that we end up in a cage and we're imprisoned by him, but the good ending is we murder him at the end? Because I'd be okay with that. I love you. Stabs him to death. I saved everybody. Yay! Happy ending! And then we go date Shido. Oh. And that's enough chit-chat, I think. See you tomorrow. He stepped into the elevator and the doors closed behind him. This is a lot to take in. The last half hour had been full of so many revelations that my mind was reeling. I knew I needed to sort everything out, but I couldn't bring myself to start. I wonder what Makoto's going to do with me. He'd said he didn't want me interfering in his game, so why hadn't he just gotten rid of me when I refused to leave? Ah, jeez. I'd totally forgotten that the game was still going on. As much as I was worried about myself and Makoto, I'm not worried about that motherfucker. I still needed to get back to the others. But no matter how many times I pressed the elevator button, nothing happened. Makoto would likely shut it off. Pee in his chair, Spacey. Oh, well, I've still got my cell phone. Dang! The walls must have been pretty thick because I wasn't getting any reception. I thought he took it from me. Unsure of what to do next, I sat down where I was. Push all the buttons on that console until you can talk to your friends. All right, so anyway, this is the... And again, this is so weird that we're seeing his memories. I don't understand that. I mean, I guess it wasn't supposed... But it makes you think it's her thought. But, like, you know what I mean? But it's his... I don't know. That's weird to me, but... Anyway. But... I mean, it did kind of throw you off a little bit, so... You knew he was involved in it somehow, but okay, his whole family died. All right, so... Yeah, but again, still, none of this justifies anything, but I'm going to wrap this part up here, and we're going to continue with this little motherfucker in stage 6, and fuck my life. Thank God we're, like, really close to this being fucking over, because he sucks, and I don't want to do this, but I don't know how this is going to end happy, so anyway, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up, and subscribe to see more.